Greetings, theists and non-theists. I am the Atheist Paladin. This is my response to Veritas's facts of normativity. The argument is supposed to prove the existence of a divine being, and it goes as follows. There are things in existence such as morality and rationality, and those oughtnesses, the way you ought to behave, is better described by a divine being. Essentially, this argument is, to me, nothing more than a fancy saying, because we don't know how to derive in a natural means a moral oughtness, therefore God. It's just a giant God of the gaps fallacy. Now he says he doesn't exclusively eliminate those other possibilities, but it is a God of the gaps, no matter how you word it. That flaw being aside, there are ways to which you can get from an is to a not. Ironically, Veritas makes an analogy that is still perfect from my side as well. Now he says if the brakes don't work, then they're not working as they ought to. And how do we know this? Because there was a designer of those brakes that made it with that purpose of stopping the vehicle. Now on the outside it seems that Veritas' argument seems to confirm him. But it is not the person that gives the oughtness. It is the objective of stopping the car that it actually gives its oughtness. So even if it designed it to stop the car and it failed to do that, then it's still not working as it ought to should. It's the purpose itself that it gives an oughtness. And even without a God, we can still derive a purpose. This purpose is still created by our own minds. Therefore, if we don't want to be taken advantage of, or work better into society, or not be killed ourselves, then you ought to be moral. It's because of those objectives, not because a divine being said you ought to behave this way. It's because of those objectives you ought to behave in that manner. That's what it makes it obligatory. It is the very nature of the reality itself. Say, for example, you don't want to get hit by lightning. That is your that is your objective. And so you ought not to stand in the middle of a high hill during a lightning storm with a lightning rod. That oughtness naturally follows from that objective. So it is reality and the combination of our own objectives and goals that gives that oughtness. Oughtness is not something that is independent of mind, because how you can describe ought to happen if it's just natural mechanical physical things going on without any mind observing it. Atoms are colliding around, and there's no oughtness to it because there is no mind observing it. Oughtness comes from our own minds. It's contingent on that, and it's contingent upon our goals. So if you ought to behave good, it is because it benefits you and it's one of your goals. And that's my reply, and thank you for listening.